In today's video, I'll be showing you some of the things I've been doing around our home this summer season. And often in my videos, I share my projects with you guys, like things I am doing extra, thrifting, painting, decorating, that sort of thing. And of course, that's only a small portion of my life. And I thought today I'll show you some of the other things, the basic things that I do all the time around here. And maybe I'll be an encouragement or an inspiration to someone. And honestly, while I love doing projects, it's one of my favorite things to do, I'm always my happiest when I have everything caught up in the house, the cleaning, the cooking, just some of those things we do as homemakers. To me, there's nothing, quite as fulfilling as having, a meal prepared for my family, a clean house, raising things in the garden. Now, do I always get those things down pat, in the way that I'd want to? Absolutely not. I'm always working on that, but it is my goal to, have my family first, of course, and kind of take care of them and the home. It's just who I am, I guess. And this might be kind of controversial, nowadays, but I feel as a woman like I'm created to do these things. Like this is what God designed me to do. And I can't imagine John, having fun like doing these things. He's a guy, like he'll be out doing other things that he was created to do, things that make much more sense, being that he's a big strong man. And for me, here at home, it's just again such a good feeling to be caught up with these things and just try to get them done. And again, it really makes for a busy schedule, being that I have other things I add into this as well. All my projects that I do around here, I realize that's not everybody's thing, but for me, I also get enjoyment out of that, but again, just not quite the same feeling as being a homemaker. Here I'm trying something a little different. Instead of mixing fertilizer with water, for my plants, I'm just sprinkling a dry fertilizer in the soil, and then I'll be watering the plants and kind of watering that in. See how it goes. I thought it would be easier than mixing everything in a watering can. I love creating and taking care of outdoor spaces. Here I'm just going over everything, the plants, doing some trimming, fertilizing, straightening things up. I want to show you guys my favorite salad these days. With so many fresh greens available, it's so much fun to fix. To me, there's nothing better than having hard-boiled eggs added to a salad as well. The salad dressing I'm using is from Marlene's cookbook, and in case I haven't mentioned it recently, if you don't have her cookbook, you really need one. Honestly, I think I use it almost daily. There's so many good, simple, delicious recipes in here. I have to think back to last year when we were putting this together. I ended up taking the pictures, and it's all full of Marlene's amazing recipes, and she even has some special sections in here where she explains different things like starting sourdough, gardening, various tips that are related to home cooking. It has been a lot of fun getting these books, into people's hands, and I love hearing about, someone's favorite recipe that they tried, and it's just really been, a lot of fun. And these are available on the Etsy shop and my website, so if you want some great new healthy meal ideas, make sure to head on over and check it out. Even though we have our air conditioner set up, I would prefer working like this any day with the doors open, the windows open, bringing the outside inside, hearing the birds, just so beautiful. Now if it gets really hot, I will shut things down and turn the air conditioner on, but today it's really nice and breezy. I found a cookie recipe from a number of years ago. A friend had given me their ginger cookies, so that's what I'm making here. And I will be sharing this recipe down below in the description box in case you want to try them, but they did turn out really well. They were really easy to make. My sister Marlene and their family are on vacation right now. So of course Deeks, their cat, is in here most of the time. Usually you hear him first before you see him. I gotta share this really simple chocolate mousse that is relatively healthy, only a few ingredients, heavy whipping cream, cocoa, and then I powdered some coconut palm sugar, and I got this recipe from Marlene. She kind of played around with it, and it's so delicious. I love chocolate. It's often my weakness, and I like the fact that I can be eating this and it's not just, filled with sugar or other unhealthy things. Here is a super easy and quick meal idea. All you need are some vegetables and thawed chicken. In this case, I'm going to add potatoes, onions, and cauliflower to the chicken. But I've already done, broccoli, zucchini, carrots, different vegetables work for this. You drizzle olive oil over it and then mix everything together and season it to your liking. And again, this is so easy if you don't have a lot of time, maybe your hands are tied up elsewhere and you just need something super quick. It's like the whole meal in one pan. You just put it in the oven for an hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now there's so many beautiful flowers blooming, and I always love to bring some of that inside. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'll be adding some fresh flowers and grasses to my mantle, and then also fixing a bouquet for the end table. one of my favorite summer memories growing up is having garden tea. So I like to try to have some in our fridge most of the time if possible. I planted some in the garden this spring and it seems to be doing well, so I'll be snipping some off and making some tea. I have this urge to use Mom's old bread recipe. I used to use it a lot years ago. It makes 5 loaves of bread instead of my usual 2 that I normally make, which is more of a KitchenAid mixer bread. But this is the actual old-fashioned bread that, again, yeah, Mom used to make, and she used to even bake for other people at times. And I know when I was young married, I would do that too. Sometimes if somebody would place an order for homemade bread, and with, you know, being Amish, we had our church services at people's homes, and then whoever, you know, hosted church would have a little meal with sandwiches and, you know, nothing fancy, but they would always need bread. So I ended up, you know, baking some bread for that sometimes. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't made it in a while. I'll also be sharing this recipe in case you want to try it. So as I'm working in here, we have some thunder in this direction and a clear blue sky in this one. So, not sure what it's going to do. It's really humid, very humid out here. Probably 90 degrees, and it definitely feels warmer than that, being that we have such high humidity here. But, you know, I actually kind of like this hot weather. I don't really care for the humidity, but I'm not complaining about hot summer weather. So a little bit later, this is what it decided to do. So pretty, just some light thunder and rain. Soap making is so much fun. Now I realize I use it a lot as a side hobby, or I sell my soap, but it is definitely also a homemaker thing. Years ago they always made their own homemade soap. I've just had so much fun with this. And if you want to see more detailed videos of mine where I explain my step-by-step process and even share my soap recipes, check those out, and I'll try to link them down below in the description box in case you want to see them. So I'm making 3 different kinds of soap today. The swirled was a lovely scent called Cotton Blossom. I tell you, it smells so good. It might be one of my new favorite scents, actually. Just so fresh and kind of summery, if that's a word, smelling. And the black soap was a request from Ephraim, my youngest son. He wanted a charcoal soap that has a mint scent, and then also an exfoliating soap. And to get that minty scent, I added peppermint and spearmint, and then I also added poppy seeds for the exfoliating part. But he was pretty impressed that he gets a whole loaf to himself. And the green one is a herbal citrus scent. And I'm happy to say I do have some soap that is cured and ready to go. So today it will be listed on my website. And yep, I have Lily of the Valley. Oh, this is still a favorite of mine. It smells so good in the basement just from this soap. And I have some more of the Cotton Blossom. And then on the top shelf, there's some amazing summer scents. Just a combination of pineapple. There's some red clover, some willow and ivy. You probably can't tell that well in the video, but I think the color combination just looks like summertime to me, and it also smells that way. So make sure if you want to try some of this soap. At this point, I'm not sure what all I'll get listed in time, but there will be some on my website, not the Etsy shop, the website. Another fun announcement I have, which I had hinted towards this a couple videos back, but I have a whole fresh new look for our candles. I changed every label. It's not that I didn't like the labels that we have been using, but I just wanted to try something different. Probably count the candles that we have now with the original labels and just sell those, and then eventually, switch over to the new ones. But I think they turned out really pretty. I wonder what you guys think. These will be available on the website and the Etsy shop. I've been thinking of eventually, having most of my items on the website, but for now, both places will have these candles. And again, still the same great smelling scents, but just different labels. I have one more thing I want to add to this video, which is sewing related, and then I'm going to finish it off with the most beautiful gardens that you ever did see, or to me they were. Marlene, my cousins, and I toured some recently, so stay tuned for that, but first some sewing. This is so not me to film anything clothing related, but I thought I'd share this with you in case this happens to you, which I imagine it probably does, where you find something that you just love, it's exactly your taste, but it just doesn't fit. So I'm going to try to alter this skirt. I found this a couple years ago in a store on the clearance rack, and the tag says Daily Thread, so I'm not sure, is there a store like that, or is that just the brand? You guys probably know better than I do, but it is too big for me, which is good. Like, I feel like it's easier to alter something and make it smaller than, try to stretch it out and make it larger, which is probably impossible. But as you can see, this is really pretty, and it's my taste, these little dainty flowers and just the buttons along the front. And I'm going on a garden tour with my cousins and my sister Marlene tomorrow. I can't wait, and I thought, how neat would that be to wear this? I don't know, will this turn out, and will I even, like it once I try to alter it? But we're gonna see. And it does have, as you can see, it's just a notch too big for me. The size is, it's a medium, but I feel it's even seems like bigger than a medium. There are pockets on the sides here, which is going to create a little bit of a challenge to try to get that seam in there, but when I tried it on, I felt like I could, I'll bring the camera in close and kind of explain what I plan to do with it. So as you can see, there's pockets here, but when I tried it on, I kind of created a pleat in here where I thought if I just avoid the pocket altogether and just put a brand new seam along the side here, you know, kind of slant or taper it off. And with a pocket, you have these additional layers. I probably just trim those off then. I guess that seam will just be a little thicker than, you know, most seams, but we'll see. I only paid, I think, maybe $7 for it, so it's not a huge loss if I ruin it, but I really don't want to because I think it's so pretty. And there's buttons along the front here. Isn't that cute? And I even debated to shorten it. We're getting some nice warm weather here in Ohio, and I thought it would kind of be nice to have it knee length, but we'll see. First I'll put that seam in, try it on, and then I'll decide if I want to shorten it or not. So the first new seams I put in here were too deep. It got too tight. I couldn't even fit into it. I ended up opening those seams and putting smaller ones in, and it ended up fitting pretty good. I kept it long. I just kind of like that look. So we ended up touring 2 gardens, and the first one was near Chagrin Falls. In fact, the gardens are called Secret Hosta Gardens of Chagrin Falls. And it was possibly some of the most beautiful gardens I've ever seen. I think we all went home and thought we were going to just redo our whole property, you know, our gardens, but I definitely want to add some more hosta, maybe even later this summer, to a lot of my spaces, but just so beautiful. And if you're at all in the area or even just the surrounding state, it would totally be worth it to tour these gardens. And I'll have their Facebook link down below in the description box. We ended up eating our lunch at this great restaurant in Chagrin Falls, and we had the most amazing view as we were eating. It was such a fun day. The second garden we toured was in Middlefield, Ohio, and that was an Amish lady that had really beautiful gardens as well. She even had the option of, you know, grabbing a shovel and digging out your own starts. She had all kinds. I mean, I'm thinking probably thousands of different kinds of plants. Definitely a collector of plants. Her place is called PERENNIAL Post, and she of course doesn't have social media, but you can search it on Google and it'll pop up with the address. And I'll try to have that address down below in the description box for you in case you want to check it out, but it is worth it. Just really beautiful. We ended our day by eating at Mary Yoder's Amish Kitchen there in Middlefield. I know it felt kind of strange walking in there, and trust me, I don't own a restaurant in Middlefield, but there's more than one Mary Yoder here in our Amish communities. But it was a great place to eat. If you're in the area, make sure to check that out. They have a neat little gift shop and a bakery. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I think for me, homemaking can sometimes be more of an art maybe than just doing your duties, you know, around the house. You can actually make it fun. I guess the correct term would probably be romanticizing your life, which is really what it is, just adding, you know, beautiful, unique things to your everyday life. And then if you enjoy gardening, you know, go on a garden tour every now and then. It's just good for the soul, especially if you do it with friends. Lots of products to check out: the summer soap collection, the new candles, and then Marlene's cookbook. And I also have my favorite dish rags or cloths back on the website. I had a lot of people asking about those. And the website is up and running. I'm still, you know, working on adding more things, but there's going to be some things on the website. I hope your summer is going great. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.